So this video is on how to time a Pfaff 230. This also applies to a 130, 232s, slight differences in all those. There's a lot of different models that fall into the same category, like a 336, stuff like that. Anyway, I had this machine, the whole lower shaft and hook assembly was completely frozen up, so I had to take all that out and clean everything out and retime everything and get it all moving. So it works great. So now I'm to the point where I need to time it. So the first thing I needed to do was to make sure that you put the needle plate on and put the screws in and make sure that the needle goes directly through the center of the plate. So it needs to go right dead center, right. It has to be right and left so it's equal. So the needle goes directly through the hole. And make sure that you've got your needle position. It's got right, center, and left positions here with the needle positioner. Make sure it's in the center and that the needle bar is coming straight down through the plate. So next thing you want to do, it's better to take well, it's not always better, but I had to take the position bracket out to take the hook out and take it all apart. So with it out, the position bracket, it makes it easier to time the hook. So you need some kind of a gauge to do it the best way. Pardon my photography skills here. I'm doing this with this little hands-free device. So the one thing that you need is feeler gauges. These are the Pfaff feeler gauges. This set comes 2.0, 2.2, 2.3, and 2.5 millimeters. This machine is a 2.0 millimeter. Then you've got a clamp and a spacer. If you don't have these, you can mark 2 millimeters on the needle bar, so when the needle gets to its lowest point, and dead bottom, you want to go up 2 millimeters, so you can make a little line that's 2 millimeters with a Sharpie or something, and then just bring it up 2 millimeters, and that is where the timing mark's going to be. I'm going to use the feeler gauges, and I'm going to show you one way to do it that makes it pretty simple. When you take the position bracket out, this piece here, this is what holds the bobbin case holder into place when it's up inside, and it prevents this piece from moving. So you turn this down so it's out of the way, and you can see the needle with an unobstructed view of the needle, and you can see the hook. And the hook point is this piece right here. It's got a little flat spot like a little sole of a shoe at the bottom, and that is what brushes past the needle. So what the needle has to do is, if you keep this thing out of the way because you don't want your needle to hit it, you turn the hand wheel until the needle gets to its lowest point, and then when it rises 2.0 millimeters going up, the needle, when it reaches that 2.0 millimeter mark, the hook point, this piece right there, should be directly behind the needle, like that, with the point of the hook in the center of the needle. So you don't want to stop it with its here, and you don't want to stop it here peeking out on the other side. You want it to actually be really dead center. So what you do is you get the hook in this position, roughly, it doesn't have to be exact, then you look at the hook gears, the hook screws, and there's one here and one on the other side. So make sure that they're loose, both of them, but when you're, again, I apologize for my photography skills here. This screw here is the one that's going to be accessible when you've got it in the right spot. So what you want to do is take your screwdriver. I'm doing this and I do this left-handed with the hold of the camera, so forgive me. Silly. And make sure that it's snug it up and then loosen it just a hair so it's movable, but not super loosey-goosey. You want it so it'll hold its position. Like, see that? You got two adjustments. You got up and down, and you got forward and backward. So I've got the screw too loose because when I let go, it drops down. So what I'm going to do is take a screwdriver, and I'm going to very gently snug up this, not snug, just tighten the screw until it just starts to grab. And if I hold the hand wheel with my right hand, I can move this and it doesn't drop down. So the first thing I want to do is get it, just kind of guess, where is 2 millimeter needle rise? So there it's at its lowest position, comes up, probably it's about something like that. And then you get your hook behind the needle. Then you've got to, let's get this out of the way. Make sure that the hook, when it's behind the needle, it's going to go into the scarf of the needle. Let me show you what a needle looks like. So here's a large version of a needle. And the front of the needle has the groove going in it, and behind the needle is this cutout here. This is the cut, it's called a scarf. And the hook, when it comes by there, it should be, as it's coming past the needle, like from right to left, or left to right to left, it should be very close to the hook, but not touching. So it needs to be really close. So what you do is you get it about 2 millimeters and then just kind of wiggle your hook up until it kind of gets right there. Now I'm doing this hands-free and I can't really do this like I would normally, because I'd be looking at this really carefully. But take a little screwdriver and just push on it. And if like right now it's already touching, it doesn't bounce and touch the hook, it's touching the hook, so that's too close. So you can just very gently in the inside of the hook, don't hit really hard or anything, and then push again. It didn't really move, so I think it went down there, and I can't really feel it bouncing. I think it moved there. Yeah. So now if you look really closely, the needle is moving. Can you see that? The needle is probably too far away from the hook. So we can adjust that later, but we're going to get really close there. The next thing you do, once you get it in a basic, approximate place, I keep apologizing, but I'll tell you, my photography skills are not spectacular. So we're going to push the needle bar all the way down till it's at the lowest point. Then I'm going to put the spacer in. And then I'm going to put the clamp in. And the spacer might be a little big on this one, so I may have to put, there we go. See that I got a 2 millimeter spacer there. So I'm going to push this, loosen the clamp, push it against the spacer so it's nice and tight. Now it's going to move, so you move the hand wheel and you can see it gets loose again and then it tightens up. So you get it at its loosest part, like that, and then snuggie it up again, get it tight so you got a nice 2 millimeter. See, it's a little wiggly there, so I'm going to actually, keeping this kind of tight, I'm going to just move the clamp just kind of back and forth and push up a little bit, and it's still a little bit loose, so I'm going to push up a little bit and tighten. There we go. So there's 2 millimeters. It's pretty, it's snug. It's not like crazy tight that it's gonna be off. So when we slip it out, now we know we have 2 millimeters in between there. So now we have our needle rise, and boom, don't slam it up there, just move the hand wheel until it makes contact, and then slip it over and see how close I got. Hey, I was pretty close. So I'm gonna move this thing out of the way, and I'm gonna hold the hand wheel, and then I'm gonna turn clockwise a little bit, and then I'm gonna turn my hand wheel, boom. There's the 2 millimeter. I'm gonna move this forward just about like that. And then I'm gonna check to see how my distance between the hook and the needle is. There's a little bit of a gap. See how it's bouncing a little bit? Just a little bit. And I'm gonna go with that for now and see how she works. We can always adjust it. And now very carefully, so you don't move your adjustment, just snug it up a little bit more and then check your work. So I'm gonna go 2 millimeters, boom, it's stopping just at the right spot. You can see it, that hook, if you can imagine, it's right behind the needle in the center. That's close enough, you know. It isn't rocket science. We're not dealing with brain surgery here, but that's gonna do the trick. Then, once you got that, you can take out your spacer or whatever means that you've done to set the timing, and then turn your hook until the other screw, find my other screwdriver. That one was loose. And then I'm gonna snuggie it up, and I'll just turn this one back around, tighten up the other one, and then you can put it all back together. After you've done this, you can put your position bracket back. And when you do that, okay, so needles up and out of the machine. I'll turn this back the way it goes. I'm going to take my position bracket like this, and I'm going to put it in the spot and make sure that the bracket goes in between those 2 little spines of the hook basket, bobbin case holder, whatever you want to call it. It's really hard to do this and film at the same time. Okay, so there we go. Now, there is an adjustment on this, so let me put the screw in, and then we'll make that adjustment. Well, I'll just tell you what the adjustment is. So the space in between here, I'm going to zoom in. The space between this position bracket here and the position bracket in the bottom of this hook thing, see how that moved? Now there's a lot more space because I bumped it. So this can slide up and down. Oh, I just lost it. Gosh, I'm so sorry. This is really difficult to do. Suffice it to say that the distance between this piece here and the bottom there should be a gap of about 1 millimeter. So it needs to be enough space that the thread can slip through. If it's touching the bottom of this, then your thread isn't going to be able to slip through. Okay? And if it's too much space, then the thing can just slide out of it and you'll have trouble. So it needs to be about 1 millimeter. So adjust it up so there's 1 millimeter of space in between there, up and down. And tighten the screw and you should be in good shape. And then when you test it, put some all-purpose polyester in there, get your tension set right, and then try it on the zigzag. And if it skips on the zigzag, you need to either make sure your timing setting is right, or that the gap between the hook and the needle is close enough. If it's striking the needle, you're going to hear a tinging, the tick of the needle as the hook goes by, and that's bad, because that's going to prematurely wear out your hook point or break needles. So it needs to have just a slight gap in there, just some daylight in between. If anything, it'll touch on the left side, but probably not on the left side of a zigzag. So you can use like a stretch material to test it, even though this machine came out decades before stretch material. So anyway, I hope that helps. And again, I apologize for my photography skills, but that should help you.